coding, we first need to install the Advanced Excel Forge component. Go to the Forge tab in Service Studio, search for the Advanced Excel, select the component and click Install. I have already done it. Let's go back to the application. Here, you have to add one button called Export Excel Advanced. Before that, we have to do the Manage Dependencies. Now go to Manage Dependencies, search for Advanced Excel. For this tutorial, I am selecting Cell Write Range, Workbook Close, Workbook Create, Workbook Get Binary Data, Workbook Open, Worksheet Select, Worksheet Write Cell. Click on the Apply button. Now we are ready to build the export functionality. Now I have created one server action called Export 1. This server action will contain all the XC generation logic. Keeping the export logic inside a server action makes it reusable and keeps the screen logic clean. For this server action, we need one binary data output parameter Excel. We require one student record list. So I have created one structure called Excel student. I have created one structure called Excel student. And the logic tab I have added here. We also need one variable called cell heading to store the heading of the Excel. And we need one local variable called row count. The first action is Workbook Create. Now, first, we have to get the data from the one server action. Here there are 4 important attributes that we need to create the logic. One output parameter called Excel, student record list, cell heading for storing the Excel header, and row count. First step is to fetch the data from the database. Here, to track the aggregate, add the student entity. This aggregate retrieves all the student records from the student entity. The data written by this aggregate will be exported to the Excel file. Now, next I am using list append all. This action prepares the list of column headers that will appear in the first row of the Excel file. Instead of writing each header one by one, I create a list first. Student record list. This makes the code cleaner and easier to maintain. Now, we have to take the workbook create. Just drag and drop the workbook create action here. Expand the sheet name. Here, you can give any sheet name. So I'll provide test. This creates a blank Excel file in memory. At this point, the workbook doesn't contain any data. Now, worksheet select. So here, you have to pass the workbook.create.workbook. Worksheet name is test. A workbook can contain multiple worksheets. This action selects the worksheet where the data will be written. Now I am using another list append. This prepares the header list that will return into the worksheet. So here titles are roll, student name, course email. Prepares the header list that will be written into the worksheet. Once the list is ready, we can write all the headers in a single step. This prepares the header list that will be written into the worksheet. Now I am using cell write range. Using cell write range, this action writes all the header values into the first row of the Excel sheet in one operation. Instead of writing each header separately, cell write range writes the complete header row at once. So here row start 1, column start 1, data set is cell heading. Now I am initializing the row count variable. Row count equals to. Since the first row already contains the header, the student data should start from the next row. This variable keeps track of the current Excel row while exporting records. Now I'll take for each. This loop iterates through every student record written by the getStudent aggregate. So the record list is student record list. The first cell write now I'll add the cell write action. The first cell writes the student roll number into the current row. Worksheet is worksheet select.worksheet. Cell row is row count. Cell column is first. And cell value is student record list dot current dot Excel record student dot roll number. The next cell write writes the student name into the second column of the same row. Worksheet is worksheet select.worksheet. Cell first row count. Cell column is 2. Cell value is name. The next cell writes the this action writes the course of the cell writes the course of the student. Worksheet.select.worksheet. Cell row is row count. Cell column is 3. And cell value is student.course. Finally, the action writes the email into the fourth column. Find one complete student record has been written into the worksheet. Here's worksheet. It's worksheet select.worksheet. Cell row is Row count, cell column is 4, cell value is email. After writing one complete record, I am implementing the row count variable. Row count is equal to row count plus 1. This moves the cursor to the next Excel row. The loop then continues with the next student record until all records are exported. Student records have been written. I'll use workbook get binary data. This converts the workbook into the binary data. Workbook.create.workbook. This binary data represents the actual Excel file that can be downloaded. Now I'm assigning the Excel output parameter. This output is returned to the screen. Finally, I'm using workbook close. So here, workbook.create.workbook. This closes the workbook and releases file resources used during the Excel generation process. It's always a good practice to close the workbook after completing the export. On the screen, I have the export button, where the user. On this screen, I have a Export Excel button. When the user clicks the export button, it calls the export function. This action returns the generated Excel file as a binary data, then it's used to download the file. Let's publish the application. Here there are 4. Once you click on the Export Excel Advanced button, the Excel will be generated. Here you can see the output. Thanks for watching the video.